Hello, and welcome to Higher Ground Gaming. This is Eric. Today we're going to do another board game unboxing. We haven't done one in a while because we haven't opened up any new games in a while. But anyway, this is Castaways by Alberto Corral. I think in Spanish it's known as Naufragos or something like that. It's a semi-cooperative game, exploration game, survival game, a little bit similar to Robinson Crusoe, although they are very different games. Thematically, it's very similar. Definitely different mechanics. They're both pretty hard. This game is probably a little bit easier, and I say that just a little bit, meaning it's not easy at all. But it's not quite as widely known as Robinson Crusoe. I think it came out after Robinson Crusoe, I want to say, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it's by Passport Games, and yeah, let's check it out and see what it is. All right, so let's read the back as we usually do. Okay, in Castaways, you will have the opportunity to explore a tropical island and enjoy many adventures it offers. Just remember that you have to work with your fellow survivors if you want to be rescued. But while you must cooperate to get off the island, only one castaway will be remembered as the great hero. Are you clever enough to get off the island and still make sure your story is the one that will be told over again and again? Okay, and there's a letter, I guess. I don't know, about some survival letter or something like that. And it was 2013, which was, I think, around the same time Robinson Crusoe. It might be slightly before, slightly after. I want to say slightly before because I'm not sure, but I think Robinson Crusoe might be 2014, but I'm not sure. But around the same time, anyway. So it's a 1 to 4 player game. Again, you can play it solo. It's semi-cooperative. About 2 hours. That's probably about right. Ages 14 and above. All right, so this game's been sitting on our shelf for a while, as a lot of our games do. But we can't play it if we don't open it. So let's get it open. I didn't bring my knife in here, so I'm going to have to use my... I can't remember where I got it, if I got it at Incher Market. I think I might have got it off of eBay. I want to say I did get it off of eBay. But anyway, still find it there. For a fairly, I think we got it for a fairly decent price. I think it was around $25, which isn't bad, if I remember right. All right, so here we go. Solid box. With the instructions upside down, but they're there. So the instructions I've heard mixed things about, that they're not that great. Probably a lot of it's translation issues, or just in general. So you got 2 game boards. You get your cards, a lot of decks, as Robinson Crusoe also has a lot of decks too. But anyway, we'll get more into that as we describe the game a little bit. But again, this is mostly just an unboxing, so I guess I'll go over it here a little bit. So you have your remains, which are like crates and stuff that can wash up. Event cards, which is kind of like the timer of the game. And it gives you the conditions you need to get off the island on the cards. Base camp, those are cards that you can just automatically do as part of your base camp. Kind of like the tools and stuff that you have in starting tools in Robinson Crusoe. Castaway, not sure exactly what that is. Card there. Plot cards. Then you have your, which is the meat of the deck here. You have your coast, which is the outside of the island as you go exploring. The interior, of course, the interior of the island, and the heart of the island, which you need to get to. So you need to go through all 3 of these decks in order to get to the heart of the island in order to escape the island and meet the condition. Try to meet the conditions for that. You have like foraging tiles. You have different types of tokens, trauma and salvage tokens. You have injury tokens, food tokens, and then wood tokens, and those are pretty much it. Then you have your little scrolls and stuff, which are kind of like victory points you can get for writing in your diary. They also have special powers on them, such as kind of like in, if you ever played Captain Nemo's War, it's kind of like the gem tokens or the search tokens, the treasure tokens, kind of like that. You can save them for victory points into the game, or you can use them for their abilities, rerolls and stuff like that. Food, things like that. All right, so setting up the game right here. Basically, pretty straightforward. Your 3 decks, your coast, interior, and heart of the island. As you can see, there's a track. Starts off yellow, turns into green, and then goes into the heart of the island. So again, you'll have to do exploration to win the game. You have to do that. And this is kind of like your main action board here. You get your storage, kind of like your Robinson Crusoe, and then your different actions you can take. And then your forge tiles you put up here, and then kind of like you have a weather track, kind of a little bit like a morale track, but not really. If it gets really hot, you lose actions. If it gets really cold, I think you also lose actions too, based upon that. But number of actions depending upon how much you eat for food, and whether or not it's really hot or really cold, stuff like that, or different other things that can happen. These are how you construct your different things, like help sign, a bonfire, and then other different possibilities here, like a captain's log, things like that. Then these are where you place your meeples to do the actions, and they do them resolved in order here, top to bottom. This is where you go exploring on the other tile on this one right here. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of your main board, and then those are your resources and everything there. Let's see here, Castaway cards and energy tiles, death of a castaway, what happens then, playing the game. So here are the main play sequence, events, actions, survival, and then end of turn, and things that you do on those. I'll show you a little closer there. There you go. And just what the different actions do. Foraging, getting wood, writing a diary. That's where you get the scrolls and stuff, which have the story points on them. There's another game that has story points too. It's the Village, the dice game, also has story points in them too. Let's see here. Then you have light the campfire. If you don't light the campfire, then you lose, kind of like in Robinson Crusoe. If you don't have a shelter, you kind of lose your actions, lose energy. Let's see here. Then you have rest. You can rest. That's another Robinson Crusoe one, similar to that. And camp action and build action. Those are all similar to survival games in general. And then what the different tiles look like and what they do, immediate actions and things like that. Exploration. That's when you're going on the island. Camp cards. Those are the different cards, and that can grow too, depending upon what cards come out in the deck. As you explore, you might have to add cards to your camp or add cards to the stack. So there's a lot of other cards that don't get used in the game initially that might come into the game later on through other cards. Like cards may tell you to put other cards in the deck or in your camp and stuff like that too. Good and bad stuff. Let's see here. It's probably a little bit more positive than Robinson Crusoe as far as that goes, but not much really. Different icons, iconography is pretty straightforward. And then survival, end of turn, end of game, and then leaving the island, what you have to do to leave the island. And then it kind of gives a survival phase example, so it kind of goes through having a couple characters and what you do. You have to feed your characters too, or else they lose energy and get wounds, potentially. Or the wounds can turn into traumas if they're not treated, which traumas are permanent, which will lower your actions you can do. So say, for instance, this is the action marker right here. If you had a trauma, say up top here, or injuries at first, which are white, but left untreated, or if other things happen, they can turn into traumas, and traumas will make your highest actions lower. So say if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's 7 you can have at the most. If you had a trauma here, then you can only have a maximum of 6. 2 traumas, a maximum of 5. And I think 3, it's either 3 or 4 traumas, and your character dies and you lose the game. So you never want that stuff to happen. It's kind of like the traumas right there. Shows you what happened. All right, playing solo. So this is a solo mode. How to play that. It's pretty straightforward. You just change a few of the rules and stuff. We'll change a few of the conditions, things like that. So I guess, I've heard it isn't that great of a rule book, but I don't know for myself because I haven't read it. So I don't know. All right, so there's the rule book there. And then as usual, your tokens, which are average quality, nothing special, not that thick, but not that thin either. It's adequate. And then these are your story points right here. 12 of them already fell out. So this one right here gives you 4 victory points. Yeah, these are all 4 victory point ones. And then this is the food tiles, the foraging tiles. So that's for, you get fish there. And you get other food, bananas and coconuts and things like that, melons. And then these are different things you can build. You can build the shelters, you can build a simple lean-to. Kind of like there's a video game that I recently played on my YouTube channel that was a survival game too. We had to build shelters and they kind of look like this. That's, you know, the most basic and then the most, so the better they are, the more valuable they can be. So you have to roll, so say if you had this shelter right here, if you rolled a 1, 2, or 3, you get 3 actions back. And if you rolled a 4, 5, or 6, you get 4 actions back. So it increases your chances of getting more actions. So this one's 2 and 3, yeah, and then this one is only 1 and 2. So the better the shelter, the more actions you're gonna get back. And there's another, I think this might be the best one right here, 3 and 4. That's similar to the other one. Anyway, but it's -2 if you don't, I can't remember. Oh, you can take off two of your injury tokens, so that's good too. This one you can only take off 1, 1, and 1. So it helps you to, better shelters will help you reduce your injuries thematically and get more actions because you get better rest. Okay, so there's that. And then here's just the second and final sheet of this, and this is sails you can build. And then there's, oops, yeah, they come up fairly easily. And then this one right here, that's your main board right here. So that's searching the island. So you get your exterior, interior, and then heart of the island. I think it might go, no, it goes this way. And then right here, certain cards will tell you to move up on this track right here. I think you start right here, I believe. So the more exploration you do on here, the harder it is to get back in the camp theoretically. So if you get a lot of ones that say to move this right here, you have to roll this in order to get back to camp. If you don't get back to camp, you get lost, and then you suffer penalties such as lower energy, possible injuries, things like that. It gets harder, you get lost. Yeah, things like that. And then here, this is a 2-board thing. This is your other board, which is in two sections. But that's the top of it, and the bottom of it right there where you put all your goods and stuff, and how you take your actions right here. So there you go. So these you can do them any way you want, but this you kind of have to do it this way because it's got the card there. But you could, I guess, theoretically separate them for table space and stuff like that. Here you put the camp cards on this. So I think you start off maybe with 6, and then you add other ones to it through the deck. And I think you can only ever have a maximum of 9. So I think you can cover them up and put other cards on top of each other too, but you won't get their abilities if they're underneath there. The first player gets an extra starting meeple, which allows them to take an extra actions, but I think initially they have to take their first action on one of these 6 initial actions here. I don't think you can do the main board like this board right here. You can't take actions on here. You still put your meeple on here, but you put your meeple on here and take one of these actions right here. There are rules of cards that break that and stuff too. So here are the cards. This is basically what a card looks like. So there'd be a certain amount of 0 cards, and I think you take a certain amount of them, and there's more than you need in the game. So you just put a certain amount in the game, and then the rest of them are out of the game. But I'll just show you an idea. But basically there'd be some text on them, and a lot of times you have to roll a die or make a decision, whether or not you want to follow the card. And these cards are very thin. These are probably not the greatest quality, so I'll definitely be sleeving these cards. Yeah, so these are similar cards, just one of the 0s. And then, they have different numbers on them, so things will be referred to the number of the card, add that card to the deck. So a lot of these you keep on the side. Not sure why all the 0s aren't together, but then you have some blank cards, which I think you can make your own adventures, which is kind of neat in theory. So yeah, I think we have to separate all these, but yeah, so just the makeup of a card. So this one right here has a footprint on it, which means you have to extend it on that track, makes it hard to get back to the island. This one gives you +1. No, the footprint actually makes you advance on the track. So you want those. These right here makes it harder to get back the +1 right here. Basically, a boar came and got you off your track a little bit, so it takes you. We had to run out a little bit further on into the island or something like that. So it makes it harder to get back. Get a little bit lost. And then this one right here gives you a story point for the. I think it's. I'm not sure if both people get it or if just the person that. I think they would both get it. Whoever's on the adventure, I think, can get one of these. But if you're not on the adventure, you don't have to go on an adventure. Only one person has to go on an adventure, but more can follow if they so decide. And the person that initiates the action, the adventure, go exploration, doesn't have to pay or pays a reduced energy cost. But if you are if you're a follower, kind of you go afterward, you decide to go on an adventure after somebody's already there, then you have to pay an action point or an extra action point, something like that. So that's kind of how it works. Yeah, so different things. This one right here is frogs. So you have to roll. Again, this one gives you a footprint, which is good. Doesn't give you the nasty thing by getting lost. So that doesn't increase that track, but gives you a story point. And then this is kind of flavor text right here. And then, for each energy that players use, they may, and I'm not sure exactly, I think roll a die or something like that. Or something, I can't remember exactly what that means. But anyway, and then if you roll an 11 through 20, each explorer receives, I don't know how you do 11 through 20, but maybe you roll it a few times or something like that. Each explorer receives food. I think that's 1 through 20. 1 through 20. 21 through 30. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how these work, but we'll see. 21 through 30 and 31 through 40. So it must maybe you roll 2 die. I think that what it is. You roll 2 6-sided die, and then if the results are in those ranges, that happens. So the higher rolls are generally going to be better. You get more stuff. Lower rolls, you're going to get an injury. Chance on that in this one. This one you just get 1 food, and you get 2 food if you roll 21 through 30. No, you still got 1 food, and then you add 2 food to the storage. Yeah, okay. And then this one is you add 2. I think this is non-perishable food. So I think you have perishable and non-perishable food too in this game, just like Robinson Crusoe. So yeah, so these different adventure cards here, and they'll have different backs to them. This one I think is for the first deck, and then this one is for the heart of the island here. I mean the interior of the island, and then finally one of these is the heart of the island. It might not be any of these. There's another deck in here too, so could be in this one too. So it's a lot of cards, a couple decks in this. So let's see if we can see what we get here. So let's just check and see. Yeah, the heart of the island, I think, are these maybe. These look like the camp tons. Yeah, these are the ones that go into camp, I think. Potentially go into camp or do go into camp. This is the Castaway cards. Oh, these are the actual, just the Castaways. These are the Castaways are your characters, which makes sense. And I'll briefly go over the characters in this. And I think there's a male and a female version of each. But this is they have special abilities too. See if I can get the focus. Vasa Sultana, you have extra energy points. So she gets an extra energy. She's stronger. I'm not sure exactly what the 1 means, but and this one is Anne Alexander, and she received extra fish so she's a fisher. So she was a tough, and she's a fisher, so you get extra fish tile whenever you fish. Normally, I think you only get 1, but this one you get 2. This bonus is not cumulative with net bonus. Okay, and then you have Johanna Wagner. She's amateur hunter. Add 1 to all return rolls for exploration you take part in. So she's better at exploring and stuff, so it makes it easier to get back to camp, which is a good thing. And then you have Ben Gunn, cooking. He's a cook. Replace a food with an equal number of food at the beginning of the feeding phase. Oh, non-perishable, or perishable with non-perishable food. So he makes the food last longer, I think. Okay, and then Mary Ann Roan. You may re-roll, I think, roll before checking a trauma. If you get a 5 or 6, move 1 trauma from any player. So she's like a healer, first aid. Then you may discard 2 something in order to remove 1 trauma from any player. I think it might be 2 story points or something like that. Okay, and then you have this guy, which is Jean-Francois de la Roque. You add 1 to any roll by discarding 1 random story point. This ability cannot be used on a reroll. That's cool. And then, yeah, so you have, looks like you have 6 different characters, from what I can see. And then these right here, these are your, what can wash up on shore. So there's a whole bunch of these. And I think you get to pick a certain amount, you know, in player order. So you get sails, which you get cloth to build a shelter or build a raft. And you can add sail to the storage, and this is so a couple of those. Canned food, which is take 2 food and discard this card, so gives you 2 food. I think non-perishable food, yeah. Take 2 non-perishable and discard this card, some more of that. It means that the hull gives you wood, which you need for all sorts of things, fires, building shelters, different things like that. Signs, building signs, stuff like that. Okay, so there's a bunch of these, and then rope, add 1 rope to the storage. A couple of those, and then a rifle, which is really good. And you have to roll a die to determine the amount of ammunition that's left. So this is good for hunting and stuff like that. Pistol, another one similar to that. A blanket keeps you warm and stuff during different temperature when it gets really cold, I guess. And it adds, well, this one adds +2 to all your test rolls, so that's not really that, but. Compass adds 1 to all rolls to return to camp, so that's cool. Captain's log, you made these for the end game condition to escape the island. And whatever cards are left, I'll try to show you some of those weather cards, just to show you what those are made up of. Tools, so it allows you to get better energy and build stuff faster, I guess. Nets, get more fish possibly. Mirror, raise the chances of escaping the island, so it might be one of those endgame. Bible, which is awesome. If no one takes this card, the castaways receive 2 injuries and lose 1 card. So there's certain cards that if you don't have a Bible, you get injuries. You know, you lose faith, stuff like that, which is true, like in real life. Medicines, discard medicine, so it helps you with injuries and traumas, possibly. If you roll high, you can deal with injuries and traumas. Spyglass and getting off the island. I think these are victory points right here. That's what they are. Get pocket watch. Again, choose any action on the board and perform. So basically it allows you to do an action that somebody else is already taking. So kind of like that for work replacement games. And there you go. Let me see if I can find some of the weather cards. Let's see here. All right, just give me a second. It might be in a deck I haven't. And it looks like there's some more characters too. So. Some more characters, which I'll go over briefly. So lots of cards in these games, which is good, which increases the replayability because you don't use all the same cards in every game. Okay, some more characters. Alexander Seltek. You have an extra point. So these are the male versions, I think, of the female cards that I talked about before. So Tough. Fisher, Daniel Defoe, not William Defoe, and plus add 1 to our return roll. Yeah, Philip Ashton. This is the Hunter. So these are the male versions, and the female version. Yeah, I think there were 3 male and 3 female in the other one. So this is the opposite. So the 3 female. Yeah, that was it. And then first aid. Yeah, so it's just cool. So you can play as either male or female. No difference other than the picture, I think. Let's see here. So let me see if I can find the actual weather card. Oh, here we go. So these are the weather cards right here. The event cards, sorry, which you turn 1 over. So that's, we'll make it sunnier. That is a food crate will wash up if you have, I think you start with 6 crates, but if there's 5 or more crates left, then 1 will wash up if it's 5+. Some of them are harder, like this is only 4+ and 3+ and so forth. But there's a set amount of turns in the game, a set amount of events anyway, and let's just say that, I don't know, these 3 were left. That means that if you were able to fulfill any one of these cards, like if you had the campfire, the spyglass, I think, and the captain's log, then you could win with this one. But this one, you couldn't win. It has the same 3, but also has the help sign. So if you weren't able to make that, and you had the other 3, and you only had this card, you couldn't do it. But if you had all 3 of these cards, then you can do, as long as you did whatever is on the bottom of one of the cards that's left over that hasn't been used yet, the event that hasn't been triggered yet. So there's an incentive to try to finish the game faster, which is kind of neat. So if you're only able to fill one of the cards that's remaining, then you can win the game. Yeah, but they make the storm clouds make it colder, make it stormier. This one doesn't change the weather at all. But different things happen. Today you realize how desperate your situation is. All castaways get -1 energy if the group doesn't own a Bible. So there's because sadness. It gets sad if you don't read the word. Because God can't help you. Discard the next event card without looking at it. So this is a bad one. You don't want to get that one. Makes the game go by fast. Discard 2 fish from the supply. You run out of supplies. Today you think how fortunate you are to be alive. All castaways you receive. So it kind of works. Energy kind of works a little bit like morale does in the other game. A little bit, but some differences too. This turn castaways can't fish because so basically these are just event cards. So some good and some bad. All right, and I think we just got the meatballs left, and that might be it. So here are your meatballs. Decent size. Probably similar to like the Keyflower or some game like that. Oops. Dropped one in there. Pick that up. But I think they're plastic. Yeah, they're plastic in this game, not wood. So you get different colors, you know. And it's the cubes, which are, these are the player cubes. These might be for the, I don't know what these are for exactly. They're different player colors. Looks like there's 2 cubes in each player color. And then 1 meat. No, it's gonna be more than 1 meatball. 2 meatballs. I think there's 2 meatballs. I think you get 2 actions normally. This might be a first player token. Yeah, you get 2 actions normally, and then if you're the first player, you get an extra action, which again has to be normally a camp action. And here are that. Looks like these might have spilled out, or they were just sitting there. But I'll just show you these. That's interesting. Whether or not. So I think these are, oh, that's not too good. That plastic didn't come out too good. You can see it's got a little frayed stuff on the side. Anyway, yeah, plastic. Not the greatest quality, but okay. And then I think these are plastic fish. These are the permanent fish, I think, the non-spoilable fish, or non-spoilable food. And then you have your spoilable food, which I'm not sure what exactly that is. And then you have the dice are, I think they're wooden. So there is only 1 die, so I'm not sure exactly how that works, but anyway, there you go. Oh no, there's 2 die right here. 2 red die. Thought there were 2 die. And then these are the injuries and traumas. And you get a whole bunch of these, but for some reason they're just sitting at the bottom of the box. But you get a couple baggies, so that's it. So that is Castaways, a survival game by Alberto Corral and Passport Games. 2013 was when it came out. Has a decent rating, okay rating, like I think low 7s, 7.1 to 7.2, which is okay. Not great, but not bad either. Some people don't like this game. They think it's either too punishing or too clunky a little bit, but I don't know, it looked interesting enough to us because we like Robinson Crusoe and we figured we liked this one. Probably not as much replayability. Well, I say that lightly because you don't have scenarios and stuff like that in this game, whereas Robinson Crusoe has scenarios which add to replayability. But this has the cards, the different cards, which can be or not be in the game, which can change the game a little bit. But the goal is basically always to get off the island. So it doesn't change like that. It doesn't change like you have to rescue somebody, or King Kong, you have to like defeat monsters or beasts and stuff like that to win the scenario. So the scenario end game is pretty much the same, but how you get there is a little different. It can be. You have to do exploring regardless on this game, which you have to do in Robinson Crusoe too, but it's a little different as far as your goal goes. So anyway, so that is Castaways. So thank you for watching. So take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next unboxing video, hopefully soon. Take care and hope everybody's having a great summer. Bye-bye now.